Hey Doodlers, how you doing? It's a really cold, misty day. I don't know if you can see the river behind me. There's a river down there somewhere. It's taking Hubbington for a walk. It's so cold that Hubs has had to wear his little jumper to come out for a walk. Hubs! Hubs! How are you doing today? Do you like your jumper? Well, it's a pretty good jumper, but what I want to know, Tom, I think what everyone else wants to know is, where are the trousers? I mean, it's a bit cold down below. I don't think they make dog trousers, Hubs, I'm afraid. Well, it's not good enough. I suggest a trip into town, trouser shopping. You in? Sadly not, I've got to do some work. I've got to do some drawing for the Doodlers. Suit yourself. I'm off then, bye! I should explain. Someone asked me why I always wear my earphones whenever I'm making YouTube videos, and that's because it's got my little microphone on, just so you can hear me better. Yeah, it's time for another tutorial. This time we're going to be talking about things that we've learnt so far about eyebrows, incorporating those into some of the shapes that we've been talking about and using some new shapes. We've done some rectangles. I'm going to be using a circle and triangle and square. How we can use those eyebrows to make characters, whether they're animal characters or human characters. But yeah, let's get out the mist and out the cold and back to the studio. So, what we can do is going to take some really simple shapes and turn them into animals. I'm going to take the circle. That's going to be the first one. You might be able to tell what it's going to turn into. Adding a couple of little triangles. I know I said circle, but it's got a couple of little triangles on. That's all right, isn't it? A couple of circles. Getting the character into the face, getting those expressions. Remember, those eyebrows really help with that. I'm having the fish looking at me as if I'm sort of the camera, and that really helps when you're drawing to engage with characters, is to have the character kind of looking at you, interacting with the viewer. Let's do some funny, sharp, pointy teeth. Some little circles for little bubbles that he's blowing. A little shadow there, like he's just floating just above the seabed. Yeah, that's a pretty good fish. I'm pretty pleased with that. Let's do another one. Let's take this triangle and we can turn this into like a bird, like a funny looking chicken. All chickens are pretty funny looking, aren't they? So again, we're sort of adding the kind of exaggerated cartoony eyebrows, a bit of a squiggle for a wing, a bit of a squiggle for the tail, a couple of little sticks for its feet, just keeping things really, really simple. Now we're adding the eyes, thicken those lines a little bit. There we go, and let's have a wing sort of waving behind him. He could be waving at us. He's a happy chicken. There we go. Yeah, I'm pretty pleased with how that's looking. You can still see it's basically just a big giant waving triangle. Let's do another shape. Do a rectangle-y, squarey thing. Doesn't have to be too exact. It's a little bit bent in places, that's fine. It kind of all sort of adds to the character you're drawing. So we're going to put some little squares underneath. Those are going to be the elephant's feet. Almost a bit of a wobbly square there. That's going to be its ear. Some big sad eyes. And there we go, a little squiggle there. That becomes its trunk. It's an elephant standing side on. Who'd have thought you can turn a square into an elephant? Rub out anything that I don't need. Again, I'm using the pencil really, really light, so we're not pressing on too firm, so we can use any rubber. Even though I'm using a computer, I still need the rubber. Just thicken those lines a little bit. you can add some little detail, not too much detail, not too worried about that, just on the trunk. There we go. Put the shadow underneath with a little tail. That's our elephant. So we've managed to turn some nice simple shapes into characters, to animal characters. So what happens now when you combine them? So I've got a circle, got my little rectangle, got my triangle. It just means that you can make more complicated shapes, make more complicated characters if you can add different things, different elements to it. So this is going to be a lion. So we're putting a triangle in a circle, doing some sort of sad eyes, sleepy eyes. They're always sleepy, aren't they, lions? We're just using those same basic kind of legs that we use for Hubbington, actually. A bit of a swirly tail. Added some little lines around the mane, little fur marks there. And some shadows underneath, just to make it stand out on the page. So, by taking really simple shapes and messing around with them and turning them into things, it's really, really good fun. But when you start to combine them, you can make little more, your drawings can be more complicated and more versatile. So if I wanted to do a lion running or something like that, it'd be much easier to do when you're combining the shapes. A few bits of detail. Don't forget the ears. I also like to zoom in and out of my drawings quite a lot because you notice a lot more if you're kind of zooming out. So sometimes I put my drawing on the floor and I kind of stand above it and kind of stand back from it, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that's not quite working. Something's not quite right there. Really helps. Top tip there, if you're just standing back and zooming out from your drawings, whether you're using an iPad or just putting it on the floor, you're drawing on the floor and kind of standing over it so you've got like a bird's eye view, can really help. So you see, we've seen what we've done with simple shapes, and we've seen what we can do when we can combine the shapes. So this is what we're going to do next time. We're going to talk about those really simple shapes and how we combine them to make human characters, how to draw some of the people we might see when we're walking around town, for instance, some of the interesting characters. And once you kind of have a basic understanding of adding this shape and moving them around, then you can start to come up with your own characters. There you go, you can still see it's basically a circle and a triangle and a rectangle. And here are some little drawings of humans I did. They look like nice characters, but the red over the top, you can see that they're basically made up of really, really simple shapes. So that's what we're going to be talking about next time. Until then, happy doodling, and I shall see you again soon on Doodle Do It.